David Pakman. Here we go. Okay. All right, you guys. So we are going to start by taking a look at xQc's games from the other day against David Pakman. I did not have a chance to look at any of these games yet, so I will look from the black point of view. Let me make sure the valuation bar shows up correctly. 1 second. 1 second. There we go. All right, that looks pretty good. Let me scoot it just a touch that way. Okay, all right, so we're going to take a look at the games between David Pakman and xQcow1. So these games were played in Pogchamps. I believe they were played on Monday, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong on that, but I think it was Monday. So watch the video. What video? Are there clips that I need to watch as well? Okay. Anyway, game goes to e4. xQc plays e5, knight f3, knight c6, c3. So David Pakman plays the Ponziani opening with pawn to c3. I wonder who taught him this. I showed this a little bit to Ludwig for the original Pogchamps as well, so maybe he picked it up from there. Why did I start the stream so early, you guys? I started the stream so early because because I'm trying to give you guys what you want. Most of the people who watch my stream, as far as I know, are on the East Coast. They're in Europe, they're in India, they're all over the world. They are not on the West Coast. They're not here in LA specifically. So therefore I'm trying to cater to the people who form the core of the audience that watch my channel. So c3 is played. xQc plays knight 6, d4, d6. Pretty solid here from xQc. Let me take this off, by the way. I just realized I still have the score up. 1 second. Just give me 1 second, you guys. So let me turn this off. Okay, there we go. Okay, so all right, so let me go back to start. So we're because I don't want that showing on my screen later. Okay, so we're looking at the games between David Pakman and xQc. They were played on Monday, I believe, in Pogchamps in the second set of matches. So e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, pawn to c3. Pakman plays the Ponziani opening. Slightly different setup. I showed this to Ludwig before, so it's something different. I don't know if I love it. I wonder who showed it to him though, or if he came up with it on his own. So knight f6, d4, d6, very solid from xQc, consolidating in the center, holding the pawn at e5 as opposed to taking, after which white gets a big center with e5 and takes, or even knight d5, bishop c4, and a potential gambit. So d6 is played, d5, knight e7. Very good start from xQc. I don't really like d5. Generally, when you play the Ponziani opening, what you want to do is you want to try to hold the center and play very kind of aggressively, I would say, and not sort of push and close it down. So probably what you should play is either bishop to d3 here, or potentially knight bd2, because now you keep a grip and you protect against all of black's captures in the center of the board. So either knight bd2 or bishop d3 are both playable, but generally speaking, when you get a big center like this where you have these two pawns, you don't really want to remove them. You want to hold the center because they provide all the space. So d6, d5, knight e7 is played, bishop to d3 by David Pakman. Okay, this is pretty good. c6, c4, c5. Now, one thing that I would say that, and this applies to a lot of players who are newer to the game, you do not want to waste moves. So because chess is so ancient and it's like such a European game, there are a lot of these like weird like Italian words, and a lot of these French words as well. And so one word that's important to note is there's this word we call tempo, which is where you waste time. You play a move and you waste your time. So when xQc plays c6, c4, the point behind pushing this pawn is you want to capture. So when you play pawn to c5, it's okay, but you've wasted tempo, you've wasted time. Because you can just push the pawn to c5 in one move, whereas when you do this, you could have done it in one go, you wasted a go, so you wasted time, you wasted one move or one amount of time unnecessarily by pushing the pawn to c6 and then c5. So normally you don't really want to do that. You would just commit to this plan because you're stalling, you're wasting time. Because if you want to put the pawn here, you just put the pawn here in one go. So by doing this, okay, plays c5, castles, bishop g4. Okay, knight g6, good moves. G3, all good, all good. Okay, b5, maybe not best. There is a free juicer here that's under attack. Black could just win this pawn for free. And if black captures here, black is just much better. Instead, however, at this point in the game, xQc does not do that. He plays b5. What I would have recommended is either to capture the pawn in e4 here, or just going bishop to e7, because if you bring the bishop to e7, you can finish your development and castle your king out of the center of the board. So he plays b5, queen e1, queen b6, completely fine. Again, maybe this pawn was free, but this is still a good move. You protect your pawn, so white is no longer threatening to capture it with the bishop and the pawn on c4. So he goes knight c3, bishop h3. Great move by xQc. Why exactly did he lose this game? Because most of these moves are very good. By playing bishop h3 here, the rook is stuck on f1. It is no escape squares. The king and the queen are both in the way of the rook on f1. So now he goes pawn takes, bishop takes, queen takes. All right, and xQc castles the king to the queen side. So this is not a good move. The thing that I would say in general here is, once again, xQc started to revert a little bit in this game, I think, and he forgot. He started tunneling and forgot that you need to use all your forces here. Because by going this way, it feels like he's neglecting. He's putting everything on this side. He shifts it all to the left, and his king is going to the open side of the board where there's no protection for the king. The king is just completely open, and it's going to get attacked and annihilated. So what he should have done was, again, put the king on the side where you have all the forces near your king, and you've got a ton of protection. So if you castle the king's side, you've got all this protection in front of your king. But when you go the other way here, what happens is your king is going towards where it's completely open. It's naked. There's nothing around it. You have no clothes. All your forces, everything is all the way over on this side of the board. So everything's on the wrong side of the board, and you're castling your king right into the huge attack. So now knight a4, queen a7, b takes a6, and again, one piece, the queen, that protects the king. But look at all these forces here that are not in the game. And so now Pakman plays pawn takes pawn, knight takes e4, correct move. Bishop a5, very strong move by David Pakman. It attacks the rook here. You have this pass pawn on a6. Your bishop and your knight are harassing the king. The queen is bad, and again, you still have two pieces that are not doing anything. So now he goes rook d7, knight b6 with the fork. Oi, oi, oi. King c7, they trade. Bishop to b5 is played here. King e7, queen h3. Another nasty move by David Pakman. Look at these pieces. You have three juicers that are not doing anything in the game here, and white's just threatening to bring the queen and checkmate the king. Queen h3 is an excellent move by David Pakman. Fantastic move. Really nice understanding to play this move, because the queen just comes in on this long white diagonal. And again, if you look at the queen, it's an attacking piece. You want to bring it into the game, and so by putting it on this h3 square, it's very good. Now black can maybe play king f6. There's some moves to be played, but in general it's already completely lost. As you guys see from the bar, plus 9.62 for white. There's really no coming back here for black. And so here xQc plays f6, trying, I think, to run the king out, but now queen e6 is played, and it's checkmate. And so unfortunately xQc loses this first game. And again, what are the issues that xQc did wrong? First things first, two pieces in this game never moved. These two pieces, the bishop and the rook, are on their original square, and they never came into the game. So chess is a game of harmony. You want to use all your forces, your knights, your bishops, your rooks. Use everything together. It's all about the harmony. And it feels like in this game he kind of reverted, he tunneled a little bit, and forgot to develop some of the pieces on one side of the board. Secondarily, as I said before, when you're trying to castle the king to the side where you have everything around it. So even if you gambit this pawn here, look at the protection around the king. You have two knights, you have three pawns, you have a rook, you have a bishop even close by. You've got so many forces that are protecting your king, and there's really no need to go the other way. Castles, yes, you died. So yeah, what I would say is, what you want to do is you castle where you have all the protection. You've got all the forces nearby to protect the king, because when you go the other way and you go long, things spiral out of control very quickly, and it gets really bad here in a hurry. I don't know, did Wesley So write something in chat? Did I miss something? Someone said Wesley So. That seems like an odd troll, so maybe he did write something. Did he write something? Let me see. Yeah, he did write something. So Wesley is in the chat. Big shout out to GM Wesley So. Hope all is well in, I guess he's in Minnesota right now. Hope everything is going well. So yeah, first thing, try to castle the king to where all the protection is. You've got all these forces to surround the king, and when you castle the king the wrong way, what happens? You have nothing protecting your king. You've got all these juicers on the wrong side of the board. They can't rush over and protect the king in a hurry. And the king is a great active piece in the end game, but before the end game, it's the weakest piece that you need to huddle all your force around and protect, like it's the president basically. Like all these pieces are like this. These guys are like the Secret Service, and so you know you want to keep your king with the Secret Service. You don't all your forces rather than going the wrong way, because when you go this way, what happens is basically you have nothing. All the guys who are supposed to defend your king are on the wrong side of the board here. So yeah, basically big mistake castling. He should have castled the other side. That's what I would say the biggest mistakes are. Overall, very, very nice game from xQc. In general, I really do like the way that he played this in general, for the most part. But just like, once again, when you're trying to development, harmonize, and bring everything in the game, and secondarily, get your king to the side where you have all the protection. That's 100% what you're trying to do, in terms of like trying to get your king out of the center of the board. So that's the main thing that xQc needs to remember. Is to castle the king where you have a lot of protection in front of it. It's not just a lone king, and you end up in trouble. So, all right, very tough game from David Pakman's side. Also, I thought pretty well played. Biggest mistake is that when people try to show openings, you need to show more and understand why certain situations are good versus bad. Because like at this point, one thing I would have told David here is when you have this castle king with these line of three, the castle king with the line of three in front, you never want to create this structure. You never want to create the coat hanger or the triangle unless you can put a bishop in the nest right here on this G2 square. If you could put a bishop on the square, then it's very good. But otherwise, when you castle your king and you have 3 pawns in front, you almost always want to push this one and create the 1, 2, 3 versus the coat hanger or the triangle. You never want to create the triangle unless you can snap a bishop inside of it. So, all right, yeah, it's a fianchetto, yeah, fianchetto, sorry. So that would be the main thing for David Pakman, is just play h3, try to get this formation. You don't want this triangle because you really need the bishop inside. So, all right, so that's the first game. Overall, though, I would say A+ from not A+, sorry. I would say for this game, I would give David Pakman, I'm gonna give him a B- for this game, mainly because I felt that he's a strong player and he should have seen this pawn e4 is hanging. So I would say what I would give David Pakman, I'd give him a B- because I thought leaving this pawn hanging with bishop e2 was not the best option. So I would say yeah, A+ and B-. No, it's a B- overall because he hung the pawn e4. I think he's better than that and he shouldn't have done it. So I give David Pakman a B-. Now, as far as xQc goes, let's see. Yeah, xQc is hard because he found some good moves and he found a couple of really bad moves. I'm going to give xQc probably... I'm going to say I give xQc probably... I'm going to give him a C- for this game. I would say a C-. And the reason I'm saying a C- for xQc in this game is because I felt that he found some very good moves, but he reverted and he did one thing specifically that he should not have done, which is he started forgetting and tunneling and not harmonizing the pieces on the whole side of the board. So I would say for David Pakman, B-, xQc, I would say C-. That's my grading for this first game. So let's move on to the second game, which I think everybody wants to see. So 1 second. Let's pull this up. Second game is this one. Okay. All right, so second game, let's go back to the start. All right, so the game starts with e4, c5, knight f3, d6, bishop c4. Okay, pretty standard. Knight c3, good stuff. d4, very good start. Castles, bishop f4. Okay, bishop f4. Okay, not the best move, obviously. What white should play here is normally with the bishop on this square, what you want to do is you want to develop it to one of these 2 squares because you have a knight in the center of the board. You should always be mindful of these ideas like a pawn push with a fork. So bishop f4, big mistake. David Pakman correctly plays pawn to e5 forking the knight and the bishop. You go bishop takes, pawn takes, knight b5. Okay, not bad. You're down one piece, but you do get one pawn in return. So queen b6, knight d6, good move by xQc. Trying to attack, he's down a piece. You need to attack towards the king. Harmonizing the bishop and the knight, trying to use them in coordination. I really do like this move. At this point, of course, it doesn't really matter because it is generally very bad for black, but I like the concept of trying to attack. So queen b2 is played here. Knight takes pawn. Okay, so probably what xQc should have played here was go like knight b5. Keep this idea alive of attacking the pawn, but also this idea of maybe trapping this rook in the corner, because right now there are two pieces in the way that prevent the rook from coming in. Also, if you take the pawn, for example, say I just make a random move, you can take and go knight d6, and you'll see again the knight and the bishop harmonize. They attack the rook, and white is doing very well here. So probably knight b5 was a better choice. Instead he goes knight f7, rook f7. Very poor move by David Pakman. He should have played queen takes knight. After queen takes knight, black is simply winning here. There are no good fossilizations. You can make a double check, but I just go over, and you're just down two juicers. Black is an extra bishop, an extra knight, and there's just no good fossilization. You can go to any one of these squares, and the king just scoots away to the edge of the board to h8, and black is better. Having said that, I understand being afraid and being scared, like thinking there's some kind of tactic, so I won't be too harsh with my criticism of this move, because it is kind of scary when you look at it. Okay, rook f7, queen d8, bishop f8. Oh, bishop f7. Oh. Oh man, queen f6 is just winning here. So queen d8 was the best move, bishop f8. Now what xQc could have played was queen takes knight, and he's winning on the spot because black can't recapture the queen because your king is under attack. And the next move is going to be bishop takes with checkmate. So this would have been game over, and he would have won the game. He forgot the rook was pinned. Yeah, no, I mean obviously he forgot the pin. Wow, but if he had played this, he would have won the game. Oh, that is so brutal, because there's no way for black to even sort of stop it. It's just so straightforward that it's just checkmate in two moves. He overthought as always. Yeah, I think it's hard. I mean, it's very hard because there's a lot of second guessing going on. So, oh, that's really a tragedy, because if he had done that, he would have won the game. Anyway, he takes, he checks. He could have captured this bishop, and if he captures the bishop, it's still very much it's still game on for sure, because the rook is stuck in the corner. You can't develop the knight ever because you lose it. And white's threatening rook b1, rook b7. King is open, bishop is under attack, and the black king is just really unprotected here. So he goes queen c7, knight bd7, and now after knight bd7, black is probably cleanly winning, simply because long-term white only has one rook, and in return black has two bishops and a knight. So black has the equivalent of 9 points, and white has the equivalent of 5. So black is way ahead here. Okay, so queen c4, king g7, knight b5. Okay, good idea. Again, trying to bring the horse in, hit the rook, create some forks, hit the king, hit the bishop, and black is doing, and white has some ideas. a6, knight c7, knight b6. Oh wow, what a move from David Pakman here. That is a quality move, because by bringing the knight out, you stop these ideas of this check. Also, white can't capture the rook, because then you lose the queen, and the bishop covers the square. So knight b6 is a fantastic move. Knight e6 is played, black trades, rook e8, great move by David Pakman. Queen to rook to b1, rook e6. Okay, now this is pretty hard because this is an in-between sequence, but what David Pakman could have done here was he could have taken the rook with the queen. Now the reason that he could have taken the rook with the queen is that if white recaptures a queen, you take, and now you're just ahead by 3 juicers, because you, in return, you give the queen for a rook, but you also get a queen. So black gets a queen and a rook in return for 1 queen. So it's a very hard move, but after takes, white could also say, hey, I'm going to take your rook, because when you capture, I capture, and it's an even trade. Like, it's still, black has 2 knights and a bishop for 1 rook in return. However, here, after queen takes rook, black now played the other move in between. Queen takes a second rook, and now you put the king in check, so white has to take. And now after knight takes queen, black just has 3 juicers and is winning the game. So this would have been very good. However, it's tough. He takes the queen. White takes the queen. Knight c4, rook b7. Very good move. King h6. Going into time trouble is not Hikaru's fault. Clock management is part of the game. Yeah, no, I'm just giving general commentary. It's not like oh, they should have done this or that. I'm just giving some general commentary because I assume that do I have lessons or courses? No, I don't, you guys. Sorry. Not right now, at least. I might in the future, but not right now. Maybe in the future. So so yeah, what I would say, this is not the first time I'm looking at the games. No, it's not. So what I would say specifically in regards to in regards to this in regards to these games, I'm trying to give a sort of a comprehensive look. So there are people who can watch it later on, but then also people like xQc or David Pakman, where they can go back and watch the game, watch the rerun, and see what they did wrong. So king h6, rook d1, good move by xQc. And see, in this game he doesn't tunnel, he tries to bring the rooks in the game. Am I going to coach xQc again? I've been through this a million times, you guys. I've messaged xQc, so I've messaged him. If he wants a lesson, he knows how to reach me. Knight d6, good move by Pakman. Rook b8, knight d7, rook d8, fantastic move by xQc. He attacks both the knight and the bishop at the same time, and in fact black's going to lose a juicer. If you move the knight, then the bishop is no longer defended, because right now it guards it. So if you move the knight, you lose a piece. If you move the bishop, you lose the knight. Like here. If you move the knight, I just take the bishop. And if you go like rook back, you actually lose this juicer now. So there's no way for black to guard everything. And this is a fantastic move by xQc, because this is what we call an overload, where black can't protect all the pieces. So he goes rook f6, rook d7, knight e4. Very good move by David Pakman. And now he can bring in the bishop as well. So at this point, it should be winning for black, but it still could be tricky, and I'm sure there's probably weird stuff that went on beyond here. So knight c5, rook d5, knight b7, takes, bishop c5, bishop d6, rook e3, bishop f4, rook e4. Okay, so g4 also completely fine. What I would say at this point as well is that white is clearly better here. White is probably even winning with correct play due to the activity of the rooks long term. So he goes g4, rook f8, rook e2, rook e1. Okay. And he plays f6, which is not the best move here. Obviously both players, I'm sure, had no time. The reason it says +4 is because for white it's a lot easier to sort of develop the pieces here. The rooks are more active than the knight and the bishop. So like you see, white could take this pawn, for example. Let me just give you some empty moves just so you can conceptualize it. And here I can use the rook and march the pawn up the board, whereas the bishop and knight don't coordinate. They can't really touch the pawn or attack it very easily. So because of that, the rooks are much better than the bishop and knight. Also, look at white's pieces. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. Everything white has on light squares. And look at this bishop. Black is a dark square bishop, and the bishop cannot touch or attack any of white's forces. So everything is on the opposite color of the bishop. So black is just, this bishop is just useless. That's why bishops are a very tricky piece. They can be very good, but if your opponent can put every single force on the opposite color, the bishop is just dead. It's a dead bishop. It doesn't attack anything. It's a useless force here. So so that's why it's very, very important to note the color of everything that white has here. So that's why in general it's very, very good for white. So he plays f6, knight f6, rook e7. What is knight e4? He goes knight e4, and now xQc plays rook takes rook. How did xQc not win this game? Knight g3, king g2, king h2, knight e4 takes. Oh my gosh, that is so brutal, because xQc had the right concept to go and create the scissor or the zigzag. He had the right idea, but oh my gosh, that is so painful. Oh my gosh, that is so painful. So he goes here, king f3. Okay, here. Okay, so he's running the pawn. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Wow. So what he should have done is move the rook to make a check, hit the king, and then when the king moves, you can play pawn to a5 and then start the long march of the pawn to the end of the board. So it goes here, a6 here, and now black takes. Now black is winning. So okay, so black just won. Or wait, did black actually win this game or not? Wait a second. I feel like this was king versus king. Did I look wrong at the end of this game? Here, here. What? Sorry, what? Wait, what? Okay. Okay, okay, so here what black should have done is just move the bishop. Keep the bishop on the board, and you just move it away from where the king attacks, and now it just protects from the other side. And when white tries to come around and attack this way, then you go here. You just yo-yo between these 4 squares. So whenever the king gets too far, you just go to the end of the board, or the furthest most square, and it's completely fine. Goes here, here, here. Knight a6, by the way, is fantastic. This notion, this is a grand master level move here, because from here the white king can't attack. It's got the pawn the way we'd like to go right over, but the pawn's in the way, and so you have to like remaneuver and use like 3 tempos. Whereas with the knight on e6, the king is always attacking. So like if we reach this position, the knight can't move because you push, and the king is always attacking the knight. Whereas when you make this fancy maneuver, now the king can't get over because the pawn's in the way, and it still guards these squares. So white can't bring the king. It's go 1 2 3 or 1 2 3. So this is a grand master level move, playing knight c5 and knight a6 here by David Pakman. Fantastic move. So king d7, h5, very good move by Pakman. I mean, White Shirt Walter playing very, very good chess here, playing h5 and g4, just fantastic stuff from White Shirt Walter. So so very, very good stuff. Anyway, all right, so g4, king c8, g3, king v7, knight c7. What was that? Okay, so like as I said, xQc found the right idea. It brings the king around to attack, and now what black can do is check and bring the knight around, and now you see the king still, now the king can't get over. King wasted 3 tempi, so you just shuffled the knight. It's like this, what do you call this? Someone in chat can tell me. What is this called? What do you call this? It's like a, what is this formation? It's, I don't know what you call it, but anyway, you see how the king is on the wrong side of the pawn. Knight protects from afar. You can't get the king over. So when you come back around, just to give you guys an example, I basically check you, and now the knight's on the wrong side. So you have to waste more time to get around. You have to waste another 3 tempis. So knight c7 was a bad move. He could have made the check and then come back around. Now the king is on the wrong side. You can't get over to attack the knight. It stops the pawn, and now you make it queen. The carousel, I don't know what it's called. But yeah, this would have been very, very good. Instead, he plays here. xQc takes. Queen. Here. This, by the way, is winning, but it's very tricky to play. Here. Check. Here. Check. Queen. Okay, now David Pakman finally just makes a check. They trade here, king h6, and now king takes pawn, and the game ends in a draw. So, wow, what to say about that game? Very wild game, many chances for both players. Obviously, it got very low on time, which led to a lot of mistakes by both of these players. In general terms, what I would say about these games is that I really like the play from both players at various moments. It feels to me that in general, I would say it's pretty clear. Please watch the ending reaction. Can someone send me the VOD of what it is? I'll watch it after this. Yeah, maybe I'll just watch it for a little bit just to catch the VOD if I can get a link. Okay, 1 second. So what I would say is, I mean, it's really disheartening for xQc because I thought he played well after he was way behind. And he had this was such a great idea. Like, he had the right idea to make the scissor lift. Like, you just want to go here, check here, and checkmate. Like, xQc, even if you guys don't see it on stream, he has been studying. Because seeing the scissor lift here, this is not something you just find randomly. So that's really, really unfortunate for him that on this there was this ridiculous bishop g3 check. Because now you hit the king and you hit the rook, and then it becomes very hard. So very tough for xQc, but he had chances is what I would say. Had chances. And he was very unlucky here. I would say the main thing is with xQc, and I said it even during the original Pogchamps, he needs to have more trust and belief in himself. He needs to move a little bit quicker. He's always doubting himself too much. Like, he's always assuming he's done something wrong. Like, I mean, he just has this, it's in him that it's like there's something wrong, I'm doing something wrong. And once he gets over that hump and he sort of believes in himself, I think he's going to do a lot better, because when you don't believe in yourself, you start thinking way too much and bad things seem to happen. So yeah, very, very unfortunate for xQc, but that is life. So all right, you guys, I am going to run to the restroom very quickly, and then once I get back from running to the restroom, we are going to I'll watch the end of that, and then we'll figure out where we're going from there. But we're gonna watch, I'll watch some of that game, not the whole thing, as well as the reactions and so forth. So I'll be right back. All right, okay. What did we miss? Did we miss anything? Okay, so we're gonna watch in a second. Just give me 1 second. Just thank you to King's Area for the tier 1. Ben Techie 30 with the prime. Luis D Barbosa with the prime. Thank you so much, appreciate it. All right, you guys, so we are gonna watch this. Let me pull this up. What is this? Okay, 1 second. I'm gonna watch this game, so just give me 1 second. Let's pull this up. 1 second. Okay, I have this pulled up. Okay, so we're gonna watch this. 1 second. This should be good. Okay, not quite. Okay, not quite. 1 second. Okay, let's see. Okay, let me make this a touch smaller. Wait, there we go. One second, everybody. So we are going to watch this. Let me just make sure this is perfect. There we go. All right. Okay. You guys ready for it? Let's watch this. Okay, this is going to be very interesting to watch, to put it mildly. Let's see. Okay, 1 second. 1 second. Let me move this up here. There we go. Okay, all right. Okay, I think this is fine. All right, let's watch this. Okay, let's watch this.
So passive, there must be a checkmating plan. Rook to d5 as well.
Yeah, h4 would be beautiful. Oh.
Yeah, he was back.
Okay. He keeps hitting himself in the head.
Yeah, I don't know what he's seeing, but
he's definitely panicking.
Oh, g5, bishop g5. Okay, so now you don't no longer have h4, but
turn it up.
I don't
Okay,
know
1
about
second.
losing the f pawn though.
Yeah, he doubled up his rooks, which is stacking the rooks, generally a good strategy, but not when it causes jobs. But look, David Pakman had only 8.7 seconds when he made that move. And h3
1 second. Okay.
XQC.
Oh, okay, now, whoa.
He'll play rook
Okay,
D1.
so hitting the rook, right.
Okay,
rook
let's
D1
watch
to come
this.
Okay,
back.
rook F-
Okay, defend.
Or defending, that's good too.
And now he could go F4, G5.
Yeah, F4 would be a really good move here. F4,
It feels
black has to
natural.
play G5. Yeah.
Yes!
Wow,
Oh,
look at him
wow,
go.
look at that.
Knight D5 would be an X. There it is by
Yes.
David Pakman going right after the pawn. And look at
Okay, he's
XQC.
going for the passed pawn instead.
I like this. This
I
is
like
this
it
is
too.
really good stuff from both sides.
Very impressive how they're performing under
Oh,
time pressure.
and now-
Whoa.
So David wants to bring his knight to F4. It looks like that's kind of the idea. But look at XQC.
I think
Right,
the
his rook and
the
A6
analysis a little
pawn
bit
can
too
be captured.
advanced. I don't
If
think
he
that was the
wants it,
idea
or rook
between.
to D1.
I don't think that was the
his next
idea.
rook at F6.
Wait, that's a free
You've
pawn.
wondered. There's the
Yeah.
base
Yeah,
palm
the head
again.
smack came in.
It's okay.
But he's okay if he just takes an A6.
Yeah, he
rook-
lost.
Okay, rook E7 checks also fine.
He lost a very
Okay.
valuable pawn, but there's still many chances. He has
Yeah.
another pass pawn.
Maybe the pin is actually going to work in XQC's favor too, just because your pieces are kind
True.
of tied down. If rook E6 happens, you'll probably lose the A pawn. A lot of good chances here for white.
And good
Wasn't
mo-
rook E6?
Oh, there we go.
Oh, never mind.
Good move, rook A7. The knight can't move, and the rook's hanging. The rook's
And
hanging
it
on the
happened!
Oh
Is
my!
gonna-
Oh, he
yes,
took it.
He
He
sees
took it. XQC sees it and wins the rook.
All
right, this is looking like-
pressure again.
This is looking like XQC's game now.
Oh my
We're
God.
gonna see Armageddon.
Yep.
XQC. What a
Look at that.
XQC did not crumble under time pressure.
And so he needs to make sure he keeps his rooks defended. King G7, bring your rook to F5. Or to F3. Just make sure you
He's
do
not gonna
drop
blunder.
that
What a
rook.
bunch of jinxsters.
And he's going for the checkmate.
Yep.
But Bishop G3. Oh, Bishop
Oh,
G3.
Oh, no, he got the rook back. Oh god, he's so mad. No.
Okay.
Oh my
But
gosh.
it's okay.
Oh my gosh. Did you see him? He totally saw it. He thought he had it. It's like, oh my gosh.
It happened.
Look at
Oh my
XQC's
God,
face.
he took it. XQC sees
Oh.
it and wins the rook.
David
All right,
choked
this is
under
looking
time
like-
pressure again.
This is looking like XQC's game now.
Oh my
We're
God.
gonna see Armageddon.
Yep.
XQC. What a
Look at that.
XQC did not crumble under time pressure.
And so he needs to make sure he keeps his rooks defended. King G7, bring your rook to F5 or to F3. Just make sure you do not drop that rook. And he's going for the checkmate.
Yep.
But Bishop G3. Oh, Bishop G3.
Oh, he got the rook back. Oh god, he's so
Oh,
mad.
man.
No.
Okay. Oh, but it's
Fuming.
okay. But it's okay. White still has really good practical winning chances in this position with the two pass pawns.
Oh no.
It's
Look
not
at-
over, guys. It's not over.
Push
Chat,
the A
it's not
pawn.
over. Yeah.
Push the A pawn. King up is okay too, but push that A pawn.
I really wish you could
Oh,
have
man.
heard his raging moment.
I wish I'd been able to
Yes.
watch
Gosh.
this. Like, I wish I'd been able to watch this
King-
live.
King D3. He needs to make sure not to go King D5 because if he goes King D5, there'll be Knight B6. Do not go King D5 because Knight B6 forks.
I'm holding my
Oh, and there's still a very good chance. I mean, XQC technically is still winning in this
He
position
won't
just
fall
because.
for another rook. No.
Yeah,
Okay,
he
good
won't.
move.
Oh, he pushed
Very
his
good
pawn.
move.
Beautiful.
Okay, good move by XQC. And David, Knight B6. Good move by him. So you need to keep the rook on the A file so you don't drop your pass pawn.
Oh god. There goes the other rook.
Oh no.
Aww.
Oh
So
no.
Oh man.
Oh, okay.
That's
not
so
very
sad.
good
This was such a
idea.
great
Yeah.
game.
That was an
That-
amazing game, XQC.
That was painful, but it's not over yet. It's not over yet. He does have a pass pawn, and King D5. If he can bring that king in, but there's Knight C7 check. If David Pakman
Oh,
finds Knight
no.
C7,
If he doesn't,
Oh,
he did.
David
Oh,
has.
it's hopeless.
and
Wow.
XQC. Unfortunately for him, he had two rooks against two minor pieces, but both of his rooks have now been captured, and he's just going to try and push his pass pawn, hoping that he can get to the other side. It just seems like David Pakman has it under control now.
Right.
Wow, what a
Bishop
game this was.
D8.
It was a very good game by XQC. Just the time at the end. You know?
If he goes King E8, there's C7.
oh,
So he needs to make sure he does not bring his King
Yeah.
E8, and he brings his bishop back to stop. There we go.
Guys.
He sees it. He's not allowing
Okay.
any more room for
And now
counterplay.
Bishop A5. Keep that bishop on the diagonal.
yeah. Once you get that C pawn, oh, David looks like he's just smacked his head a little bit over there. I'm not sure if he sees bishop. I'm sure he's gonna find a way to play bishop A5, but he seems a little.
Oh my goodness!
Oh, Okay, but
he'll
he brought.
sack the knight for the pawn on c7.
But how? He needs it. No, the thing is, if king f6, then okay, he brought the knight up, king to d6 now.
Look at that look.
Oh, and if he goes knight e4, he might play knight e4 to keep checking. He might think that no, look at
No,
him,
knight
though.
a6. Okay.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
a really good move.
Okay, but there's
Wow.
good chances to here still. It's not over. It's not over.
It's
There's-
definitely not over.
Very good chances for xQc to hold this position.
And now knight b8 could have been played to take on c6.
Oh! Oh, he's
David-
just gonna create the pass pawn, and then the king,
What?
Black's king is really close to White's pass pawn, so the promotion's gonna happen from David.
So David breaks free that pawn. King c8
Yeah.
to b7 would be like the only chance that you have to try to chase that knight away.
Look at how
But it
nervous
seems like
David Pakman
David
is here
Pakman,
too.
He
Wow.
withstood some
He's
serious
not-
pressure on this one. Oh my gosh.
It feels like David is during time pressure, like we saw earlier in the other day. He doesn't do too well under time pressure, so he's only no.
With the knight, and he just lost the knight there.
Okay, but he promotes. But does he know how to use a queen?
Yeah,
to...
I don't know if he knows how to win this endgame.
But his draw is still winning for him, unfortunately
right.
for xQc.
That's right. A draw still
true.
winning.
But I'm not sure if he knows how to use a queen to queen and king combo for this. The idea is that you have to check the king so that the king goes in front of the pass pawn on c8, and then you bring your king over slowly to capture the pawn. But
He
that's
does
a
not
very
know, yeah,
advanced endgame idea.
Right,
Yeah,
especially in a
he-
position like this, because you're forcing the opponent's king up the board. And like queen f6, that's not the right start, but he can just give checks forever, and as you said, make the draw, and that way win the match. That man.
And he knows this too.
Yeah, he can just sack his queen for c7, then take the h pawn. He can force a draw in many ways. I mean, force winning this match.
Right. The queen e4 check. This is something that.
But I mean, if Pakman hadn't traded the
He
queen,
allowed the queen.
That's all right. It's yeah. I think he didn't see that, but the king is close enough to the pawn
oh
where
man.
gonna be able to capture it, and this will be a forced draw. And
I
xQc
really-
He's
is
yelling. It's like he didn't expect
Oh.
this to be a draw.
Okay, I could literally see what he said. He said F off. What is that? Like, what is that? That's totally what he said. Okay. All right, let's keep watching. I'm sorry. Oh my gosh.
I really
Yeah.
wish the xQc were streaming. So
But
we-
you know what I would add, actually, just I will add one thing else, or one thing that I would say, is that xQc, I think actually the way that he lets it loose here when he wasn't streaming is probably better for him. So so probably what I would say in general terms is that he should be more out there, because it feels like he got more into it and he was like talking to himself, he was doing all this stuff, and he was like and like it seemed like he kind of was using that to like help him go forward. So maybe he should talk more like that when he's live. Okay, let's keep going. Let's listen.
and heard his
I
thoughts.
know.
That was one of, if not the best games of both the first and this Pogchamps. I mean,
Mhm.
that
I
was
agree with
really
that.
something.
It was very impressive. xQc played very well, Sir David.
Yeah, huge respect to both players. xQc played amazingly, and so did David, of course. But xQc had a very good winning chances here. You know, might see a even better gameplay from his next game.
Well,
True.
we'll hear from the players in just a few moments. We're going to take our final break, and when we return, we will have xQc and David Pakman and hear how they feel after what was an epic battle. And we return with both David Pakman and xQc. And David, we'll start with you. Congratulations. And I have to ask, how nervous were you down the stretch of that second game when you both were in immense time trouble?
I was getting pretty nervous, yeah. And what I tried to remember was with increment last time in game 2, I just played the entire rest of the game as if I had 25 seconds left, even though I had built it back up to like 2 minutes. So I tried to remember that that was not the case this time. But it was a major, major collapse. And I'm lucky to have, I mean, listen, after last match, I'll take any win that I can get. But there was a bit of a collapse there. We're going to have to be analyzing that one for a while.
And xQc, you played a really great second game with some aggressive play there after you had blundered a piece. Did you feel like your gameplay was better today? Because we were all quite impressed.
no, I blundered so hard. I was kind of defeated there, dude. But my boy, white shirt Walter, had to push a draw on a 600 elo player. Come on, man. Hey, I draw, dude. Come on. I was going in for the home stretch here, dude.
Yes, well, listen, I'm lucky to have gotten the draw. I almost lost, so.
Yeah, you both played really, really well today. It was an amazing game.
Yeah, and well, let's look at the second game because the first game was pretty wild, as was the second one. And we'll go back to that critical moment where, David, you did not trade queens when you could have, when you were up a piece. Was that because you were having some PTSD from last week against Hafu in the end game?
Wait, so this is game 2, which move?
You went your queen out to b6 on move 10 when you could have traded queens off, for instance, and you were up a piece for a pawn at this point.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I just didn't see any particularly good reason to trade the queens, and then it would have brought. I just, obviously I'm terrible at this, so who knows why I would do anything. But I mean,
don't be so hard on yourself.
You're doing great. You're doing great. You don't need to be so hard on yourself.
I couldn't justify trading the queens, so I figured that there was maybe some opportunity with the 2 knights and the bishop stacked up on the B and C files to maybe later get the queen there. And in fact, had I not collapsed later, I was looking at taking either the C pawn or the knight on C3.
Collapse
but I never
later?
Got the time really because things fell apart.
In xQc, you went for a vicious attack with knight takes f7, and after rook takes f7, it was actually you who had a chance to end the game pretty quickly because you brought the queen down. I was like, that's a good start. And after bishop f8, did you consider the move queen takes knight on f6?
Listen, this is one of those things where like good chess players see like all scenarios and they see them through. Like if I think of a scenario and I see it through, and there's another one that appears, it's like I forget what the other one was like, and I can't like do a fusion. And I didn't remember that with that new line of thought that rook was pinned.
Right.
And I was like, okay, well, a rook will take queen. I had forgotten that I already thought that plan out. So I didn't know, like, I just forgot that rook was pinned. It's just bad.
That was a very complex way of saying he just missed the pin, but I see.
we get it. We understand.
Oh my god!
You're juggling variations, right?
Oh
David,
my god! Did Andrea really just say that? Oh my god! Wow. Yeah. No, actually, I think what xQc said to some extent is true from the standpoint of like it's hard to calculate like variation and then come back to the start because like they can't visualize the way that stronger players can, so it's kind of hard to come back. I mean, yes, he probably missed that it was pinned, but I don't think that he's wrong in what he said in terms of the assessment. Because what I would say is that in general terms, they look at one variation and coming back and not forgetting it without the ability to like visualize it in your head is certainly something legit. I would say that. So yeah, I mean, I think he missed that it was pinned, but I think as he looked at something else and he couldn't come back to think about something else, and I think that's certainly very true. Very true.
You can attest to this as well, that when you're dealing with so many different ideas that in one line you may remember a certain tactic, but in another you forget, right?
Yes, forgetting is I mean, I've forgotten way more than I remembered in this game already. That's the crazy thing.
And
Fair.
Dude,
Everyone
with
has
that queen trade middle, I was like, dude, take my queen, dude. Take it, man. If you want to win, dude, I want to see blood, man. If you're gonna get the W out of this, I want you to fight for it, dude. Come get my pieces, bro.
Oh, that's interesting. I like that.
Yeah, and I guess you guys did get into this queenless position, and it started to turn in xQc's favor, where David, you were in time trouble, and you were fending it off for a while, but then you got into this position where your knight was pinned. I'm going to go to that moment right now, and unfortunately, you didn't either recall that your rook was hanging, or you just didn't see that the rook on f1 was staring down through your knight, the rook on f8.
No, it was a fiasco. And I mean, I got lucky on a couple of forks at the end where I was able to pick up some pawns and sort of like salvage it. But it was it was by sheer instinct alone, and my instinct is usually not super good. So
Yeah.
it was lucky for everybody.
Also, he no scoped my rook, and I didn't even see it. He slid it all across the board.
Yeah,
Yep.
like that's what was so
Yes.
unfortunate for xQc is that he could have put the king on G2. He could have put on a light square where it wouldn't get attacked, but he put the king on the wrong square, and he allowed this check.
Scope. Yep.
That was a nice
That-
find.
That was a clutch save by you, David.
I
to
think
find
up until that point, I was like, we're going to Armageddon.
Mhm.
Yeah, we thought so too.
True.
Yeah, because xQc, you were just trying to give that quick checkmate, right? You were just trying to do the ladder with the rooks. And
Yeah, I was trying to do the scissor lift or whatever you call that, where you like chick 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 chick.
Yeah, the ladder. Yep.
Yeah, I was certainly aware that that could be coming, so I was trying to think of, making sure I had a spot to kind of hide the king if it came to that.
It's like a scissor lift.
And unfortunately,
scissor,
like
scissor.
with f5 and h5 covered by the pawn, I knew I needed forks. I was looking for utensils. I would have taken anything, but I was looking for forks.
well, you got one of them, and then xQc still had a good position, and unfortunately for him, he dropped the rook here on a8 when the knight came to b6. So there was
Now,
mistakes
what's
off-
interesting is I'm looking at the evaluation bar. When I got this fork, it went more in his favor.
Well,
Because it's a
I
bad
don't
move.
necessarily agree with that. It's kind of complicated. The position is still winning for white because of the passed pawn. And xQc started on the right foot, and he tried to push that pawn all the way through. But unfortunately for him, you were being all tricky with your knight. And knight.
Yep.
Do you think that knight is the trickiest piece for you guys? Because I feel like that's been the theme in Pogchamps.
You know what? I feel like lately after doing a bunch of puzzles, I think knight is the only piece that I actually put thought in. Like,
Mm.
Yeah, I agree, and I agree in that because I know that it's trickier. I feel like I also am thinking way more about like in 2 or 3 moves, where could the knight be?
Yeah. And after this, I mean, once you lost the rook xQc, there went your winning chances. It felt, and David was able to secure the half point he needed. So what a crazy match it was. And Andrea, what thoughts do you have of that matchup? Any questions for either player?
I had a question for xQc. Like, I thought this was one of his best games out of all Pogchamps. And I know he took a day off, or I don't know how much of the day, which is very rare for him. Were you preparing a little bit before this, like doing any puzzles today, or did you go into it like
No.
last time? Did you just play Fall Guys before?
I had this little rare tummy ache, so I was just chilling. I was just sleeping and
Okay.
napping.
Well, you played very well, but okay, so you didn't prepare yourself for it, but it's okay because you still did great.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Am I out completely, or do I have a chance to redeem?
Well, we don't know because these other 2 players in your group will be playing not tomorrow, which is a rest day, but the day after. So we'll see how that shakes out. But I think that you still have a chance, and if not, you'll be in the consolation bracket, and we know that you can be a force in that. If not
Cool.
being champion.
Okay, sure, makes sense. Yeah.
And David, I have a question for you because throughout you've been very solid, and maybe in the first match, your first game, the opening was a little bit risky. It feels like you have a good foundation. So, what is your chess background like, and what have you been doing lately to work on your game?
My background is really about 18 months ago. I just started playing online.
Oh.
Up until that point, I was extremely solid on how the pieces move. So like I would never think, a rook moves diagonally. Like I was super solid on that type of thing. But no, I mean, I've just been playing online for 18 months and then just, training for this, quite frankly.
Oh, well, you've been training well, it seems, and you have a very impressive foundation, as I've said, and it seems like you're a very solid player. Like you know how to minimize the risk for yourself most often, and then that causes problems for your opponent. So I've been impressed by that.
Now, what was the riskiness of in the opening? Just the opening in general is a risky one?
So I meant the first game against Hoffer. Yeah. that game.
And against Hopper.
Yeah,
oh my
yeah.
God, that's what you call a gambit gone bad. I mean, listen, it's called a gambit for a reason, right? And I was on the wrong end of that one.
Yeah, no, today was a different story. The game against Hoffa was the one I was referring to, but it seems like you've shored that up. And Nemo, any final questions before we let these 2 players go?
No, I just have to say both players played absolutely amazing today, and it's great to see xQc, play really, really well. And there's always a chance to, win the last game. Whether it's win the entire consolation bracket or just win the last match, it's a lot of great chances here for both of you.
Well, thank you.
Well, thank you both. It was awesome.
All
Okay,
right, thanks
for
guys.
having me.
Really
Done.
appreciate it.
All right, guys, have a good rest of the day. Goodbye.
Bye.
Take care.
All right, yeah, pretty good. Okay, let me close this. Yeah, not bad, not bad.